Good morning. Well, today decided to see if I could improve my gas mileage a little bit on my recently purchased 2014 Ford 3.5 liter Ecoboost. I've read and watched some videos that more than likely could be spark plugs, which I'm going to change eventually. And there are 3 potential sensors that would need to be cleaned. One MAF and I believe 2 MAP sensors. And those are the 3 that I'm going to clean today. I also know that when you do this process, the computer or the ECU of the vehicle has a memory and behavioral aspects of the logic within the computer that you have to kind of erase that logic. You don't want them to still try to gauge your consumption or your calculations of fuel based on older readings. So the best thing to do is disconnect the battery terminal for about 10 minutes and let it clear. So we'll do that as well. The previous owner didn't do this. I did this. I recently installed this catch can or separator. And like I said, within less than 40 miles, it already had about that much at the bottom of the little can here. So it does help out quite a bit. But because the previous owner did not have those 3 sensors, they're probably caked up a little bit or has some oil deposits on them. So I'm going to clean this out with some MAF sensor cleaner, and we'll start with the first one. The first one's at the top of the engine here, or the first one I'm going to do is the MAP, which is this one fire here. Now, what I noticed in other videos, some people said the same thing. I thought the same thing when I took the cover off, that's missing a screw. So I guess based on other videos, it's the same scenario. There's 1 screw on the right and no screw on the left. So I guess that's from the manufacturer that way, because it's just, it'd be too much of a coincidence that the 2 other videos that I've watched has the same setup. So that's just the way it came from factory, just one screw. Got the screw up. It's a 7mm head. I'm using a pry tool, like interior trim, to help me pop this out. The car that's way in the back of the engine compartment. So I'm 6'1", but still it's a good reach. So let me pop that out real quick, and I'll show you the sensor. Here it is. As you can see, I put the towel down. You see this residue, so it is dirty. I'm hoping that with the catch can I mentioned earlier that I installed recently, it will eliminate or reduce this significantly, where I won't have to do this very often. And hopefully it does improve the gas mileage. So let me spray the cleaner. I'm using a CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner. Seems what other folks have used as well. Hopefully it doesn't do anything other than help me improve my gas mileage. Give it a quick couple sprays. Again, I threw the paper towel there just to reduce mess. That's about it, and I'll reinstall it and go to the next. All right, the second sensor is right here, the second MAP sensor. What I understand about manufacturers, all these are the same sensors. They have the same holes, but why do they need to use different screw heads? The other one was a standard nut head, 7mm. This one's a Torx 15. And the third one's going to be different. So, all right, so let me go ahead and do the same thing. I'll take this one off, and then I'll come back and show you the crud on it. Well, this one looks a lot cleaner. Still gonna give it some sprays with the cleaner here, but yeah, that one looks much better than the one in the middle of the top engine. And again, I'm doing this because my gas mileage right now is hovers around 12 to 13 miles per gallon. So I'm hoping this will improve some. And I'm having that slight, what do they got, the folks on some of the forums call it, but that little flutter or sensation of the rough idle, basically. So hopefully that'll clear that up as well. Let me give some sprays and I'll put it back in and go to the next. One thing I'm also doing, I'm cleaning, before I put the sensor back in, I clean the hole a little bit. Look, that's just from that hole right there. So I want to get that gunk on the sensor. So another tip. Once you pop this little thing off that holds your wiring in place, I just dropped my my bit. So let me go hunt that thing down. Fell right through, so I didn't have to dig for it. So the socket's an E5 for this one. So as you've seen, we've used 3 different types of sockets. But let me go ahead and take this one off and show you if it's how dirty it is. All right, this one looks probably the cleanest one of the 3. But again, this is only receiving air, so this is the MAF. So I'll give it a couple shots here and clean this one, put it back, and then next thing we'll do is disconnect the battery so we can reset the logic or the ECU. And just a quick note, for these sensors, don't try to do a deep clean by, grabbing Q-tips and trying to rub those sensors. You'll ruin them. But just FYI, I'm going to put this back in. It's been sprayed. Don't forget to clean the hole as well. Like I mentioned previously, once you take you tamper with your mass, airflow, your maps and your maps, as well as the throttle body. I didn't do the throttle body this go around. If these 3 sensors don't improve the gas mileage, I'll do the throttle body. And again, I said I will do the spark plugs as well in the future. But if you don't have a tuning device or a scan tool, the other option is to clear your memory is to take off your negative terminal, let it sit for about 10 minutes. But you also need to understand that there's capacitors in the ECU and things like that. They store energy, so you have to drain that energy. Now I've read 2 different ways of doing it. Why don't you take this negative off, off the terminal, then you take a jumper. Basically, you connect to your positive, to your negative terminal. Again, with the cable disconnected, not with it disconnected. You can cause other problems if you do that. But you run it from your positive to your negative bare terminal, and you let it sit for about 10 minutes or more if you like. More is better, like I always say. But other people have mentioned in forums and things like that you can do it through the turning something on, like your headlights, and let it run for the same 10 so minutes, and hopefully that'll drain any excess energy that's in the electrical system. So I'm going to give this a shot, and I'm going to turn on some lights and get about at least 10-15 minutes, see what happens there. So I got my lights turned on, and I actually put the key in the ignition and turn it all the way as far as it went. Not sure if that's going to make any difference, but thought it wouldn't hurt. So let's see, I'm gonna probably give it more than 10 minutes, 15 maybe, and come back. So I left it probably almost an hour, connect everything back. It ran rough a little bit at the beginning. It seems like it's getting a little bit better, but I'm assuming that's because it has to burn off all that cleaner that I put on it. Also, hopefully it just needs to relearn everything. I noticed also here it said hold OK to restart, so I did that. I hit the OK button here. I'm just driving around now and trying to see if the mileage improves. All right, so after the drive, I drove about almost 20 miles. And I have to say, as far as gas mileage, I was averaging, remember, I only had the truck for about a month. And the MPG was it started 13, it was down to 12.4, 12.7, 12.4. But I went ahead and cleaned the 3 sensors, and right now, after those 20 miles, I'm at 17.4, 17.6, 17.7. So it's an increase of 5 MPG. So as far as the idle, in park, it still feels a little rough, but when I'm stopping at a light and I'm just sitting there idle in gear,
you'll feel some roughness, and then it just levels off like the car's almost off. I mean, the idle, it's that smooth, but there's still a little roughness. So I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said earlier, I'm gonna clean the throttle body. I'm gonna replace the spark plugs. I mean, you could probably just clean them and re-gap them, but I'm just gonna go ahead and replace this. I'm taking them off, and I'm gonna do eventually the oil change. But definitely, I would say, as far as from the inspection that I did and the cleaning of those sensors, especially the one that the map sensor that sits on top of the engine, there's a significant amount of oil buildup there. And definitely, I would recommend getting that catch can. Now, there's a catch can that's set up for both sides of the engine, so there's really two catch cans. I went with the one that would the one on the left, but I did buy a cheapo through eBay that I probably will set up, and I'll do a video on that. But definitely get that catch can, because it does make a difference. Now, I'm also wondering about possibly bringing my, this car has about 56,000 miles on it before I got it. So I'm looking at possibly, maybe, what do you call that? The walnut cleaning, where they spray small particles of walnut in there, and it takes off all the buildup. There's kits available, but there's also shops that do it. So I'm gonna research both and see which one I end up doing. But hopefully this helps. Like and subscribe. Thanks so much. Take care.